Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming technology. This is episode 234 on May 12th. Is it really May 12th, 2021? I am Clyde, and today I am joined by Matthew Ross.
Hello, everybody.
Jimmy Trammell.
Hello, guys.
Michael Aston.
Hello, everyone.
What is going on?
Happy International Nurses Day.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Happy nurses are awesome. Absolutely.
They haven't, like, Star Wars hasn't found a way to co-opt this day also. Like every other day.
I mean, it is
No.
May. This
No.
is the May,
No.
the whole month long.
No.
No, we went through that one last week. We're not going.
Yes,
through
we did. We did. All month long. We're to deal with this. All of us. Oh.
Every episode this month, I'll find a way to remind us that this is the May.
I'm okay with May the 4th, and I also really appreciate the Revenge of the 5th, but I'm done with it after that. That's it. Okay? That's it. It's enough. You've had enough. You can stop now.
It is International Nurses Day, and it's
Yes.
because it's Florence Nightingale's birthday today.
Oh, cool.
That's the reason why.
That was the mom on the Brady Bunch, right?
No, that was Florence Henderson. But, I think of the same thing when I hear the name Florence. So.
When we finished our show last week, I realized I missed the one opportunity to discuss that, because we don't have a show on Cinco de Mayo very often, and I didn't get to tell the story of how they came up with the name, but for Cinco de Mayo, but it's okay. Well, we'll have to wait another 4 years or 7 years or whatever it is to actually fall.
I guess we'll have to do that. I mean, if somebody put it on their calendar that the next time we have a show, the next time that Cinco de Mayo lands on a Wednesday, to remind us about doing that, and we will try to remember, because that's what we do.
Hopefully that'll be before Haley's Comet, huh?
Oh my goodness, when is Haley's Comet coming back? And
Night of the Comet.
okay, thank you for being specific.
We go through Haley the Comet's tail. That's when the Night of the Comet.
Right. I was wondering when that was.
I don't know.
I don't know. It happened in 1986?
7 or 8, I want to say, because I think I was in 4th or 5th grade. So
I mean, you realize I'm talking about a movie, right?
Yeah.
1986, and it will be back in 2061.
Yep.
Wait. Okay. If we're still going on in 2061, we can talk about it then too. Oh my goodness. Well, Hale-Bop will be back before then, all right?
Oh,
It was like,
just in time for a new Heaven's Gate.
yeah,
I guess.
I'll turn 100 in that year.
it was like that was one of my first horror movies that I ever watched.
Oh.
Loved it. It was like a zombie movie. If you haven't seen it, it's great. I mean, it's probably really awful, but I thought it was great then.
Whoa. The next time we'll see a Hale-Bop will be 4385. Yeah.
The show may still be going as long as we still have patrons.
Well, we'll have to.
It'll be going.
Well, then,
I think we'll have to get up to a higher patron level so that we can have enough money to integrate ourselves with the Matrix.
No, we'll have to find and train our replacements by then. Long time since then, so it'll all be fine.
All right.
Oh man, should we talk about news?
Let's do.
I guess.
Okay, well, let's start off with updates from the guys at Google. They made some updates to their Google Home devices. Lots of things of helping out in the various in the home updates. In particular, for me, is that they've made some updates to the Family Bell feature, which is actually what we use to make sure that certain things happening certain time of the day. It's a school bell feature essentially. But the one thing that I really wanted to talk about is the fact that now that you can use the broadcast feature. When you use that feature, normally it would broadcast to all the various devices in your house. That broadcast feature now has been enhanced in order to provide you with the ability to send also that same broadcast to various Android or iPhones that are hooked up to the system. So,
Well, the zombies got Clyde, so I'll go ahead and give some thoughts. I thought I think this is pretty interesting, and I'll tell you why. Because two things. First, this is the replacement for I've fallen and I can't get up. Now you don't need to have a button or anything. You just yell at your thing, call the grandkids and tell them I've fallen.
You can still say, "Help! I've fallen and I can't get up." I'm pretty
There you
sure
go.
it'll know.
yeah, I suspect that might be a well-known phrase.
Or it'll just start playing those commercials for you.
Yep. And then the other thing is, like, when my wife and I go shopping or go get groceries or whatever and leave the kids home. Of course, my older daughter has a cell phone, but my younger daughter, who's 8, does not. I'm a horrible father, and I haven't bought my 8-year-old a cell phone yet. I'm kidding, because I think that's ridiculous. But some of her friends do have cell phones. But she occasionally will call my wife with her tablet on like Kids Messenger or something. But it would be kind of convenient. On the other hand, I'm afraid that if it was that easy that she didn't have to like get up and go get her tablet if it wasn't with her, we might be hearing from her all the time about like, I need a drink. Will you call Kiera and tell her to bring me a drink or something like that? Because she could yell at the echo from anywhere in the house, and then she'd never have to leave the sofa. I think she might take advantage of that too much.
So you're saying this is the beginning of Idiocracy.
or the beginning of what's the
WALL-E
robot movie? Yeah, WALL-E. Thank you.
Maybe it's possible. I think I like to think it's a Portal 2, where where the computers are starting to take over the tasks, and eventually will use us as test subjects, and will eliminate the need for humans. Right? That's the plan, right? Pesky humans. No, I like the fact that we see these updates. I like the fact that they've been adding things like there's abilities for you to have access to some Harry Potter stuff is coming, and there are a bunch of different of hat on. There was a little thing for Mother's Day going on. They were just pushing a lot of these little updates to these things, and I'm happy to see that they're continually to move on this thing. But that feature, which is the broadcast feature, in particular, seems like it could be interesting. At the same time, it could be very annoying. Especially, I'm wondering. This is my cat wonder if my family's at home and I'm at work and I've got my cell phone and they make a broadcast in the house. Will I get that broadcast while I'm at work?
No.
We'll find out. Okay, don't know yet. I have not tested that yet. We shall see. All right, here's an interesting story. Netflix has decided that they've done it all. They've have all the comedies, and they have all the dramas. They've got all the zombie flicks. They've got everything, right? They've got the sci-fi, they got the fantasy. They've done all the various movies out there, and they've spent lots of money for things. I'm sure there's competition out there from people like Disney Plus and HBO Max and all that. But come on, guys, they basically have cornered the market on streaming stuff. And realizing that pretty much everybody has seen everything on Netflix at this point because they've had nothing else to do, they've decided to go one step deeper into their own pool, and they're creating something called N Plus. N Plus is a hub for exploring further Netflix entertainment. It's going to allow you to access user-generated playlists. It's going to give you access to documentaries about the various Netflix films. It's going it's going to have things like podcasts that are linked to some of those shows. In other words, if you're really a huge fan about Netflix, and I mean Netflix in particular, here's the service for you for more Netflix. It feels a little meta to me. I don't know, guys.
So it's an inside baseball feature to Netflix. Is that what this is supposed to be?
It's like, hey, I like the show, but can I get a podcast that's tangential to it? Can I see some documentaries about how this was made? Can I see if there's somebody else's playlist that they've designed around this show, maybe other suggestions or whatever?
I mean, I could see it being viable. I mean, if it's a show that you really like, I watched some of that, right? When Game of Thrones was out, I think they had one. Something like that, about the making of Game of Thrones. Let's see, Netflix has done this before too. Didn't they do that with the Lion King? I think there was some episode when they did the Lion King, like somebody came in and talked about putting together the documentary, right?
I don't know, but you could just have the documentary and put it on Netflix and have it as a suggested thing because it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're talking about the Tiger King, but
what did I call it? Lion King,
which is
Tiger King.
I'm trying to figure out
what
they had to do with the Disney movie, but that said, the thing that caught my eye on this, I'm kind of totally torn two directions because I absolutely love some content, right? Like there's shows that I absolutely love and I want to consume as much as I can about it. I loved Stranger Things, I loved Witcher, and I could see myself for sure engaging in the content. And yeah, like with Stranger Things, they did have some kind of like cast talks and conversation. I can't remember what they called it, but they had a cleverish name that kind of tied into the show or the movie name, the show name. And then there's also like me with like the Wheel of Time, which is a Prime show, not a Netflix show. But I've read all of the books. So I'm kind of like, well, I can't really be spoiled about the show. But at the same time, I kind of feel like I can. So I'm one of those people, I love to consume everything I can after I've seen it. But they also talk about the ability to influence how the show develops while production isn't finished and stuff. And that would be for certain types of content. I'd be super interested in doing that. Books made from movies made from books that I've read and things like that. I would definitely want to be in there talking to the community about it and maybe having some influence on the way that it develops and happens. So I think there's a lot of merit to it. This is already being done. It's just not all being done in one convenient place that kind of brings you into a greater community.
I see this as another way for Netflix to make it even harder for me to find the stuff that I'm actually looking for. I mean, it's bad enough that they won't leave my watch list in a specific place and it moves around and sometimes it's 30 layers deep. Yeah, I don't know. I can't even remember the last time I opened up Netflix for that reason. So the promise of more niche suggestions, I'm not interested.
Maybe it'll finally work for you when you find the person that has the similar playlist to you, though.
It worked for me before when they had an actual rating system. It's when they took away the stars and you could no longer confidently thumb up or thumb down It just all the suggestions, good suggestions, went away. I used to trust Netflix. It used to know me so well that when it said, "Yeah, our prediction is you're gonna find this 3 stars out of 5 or whatever it was," and I'd watch it and I'd be like, "Yep, that's about right." And I would watch the suggestions without even thinking about it because their suggestions were on point. But yeah, not anymore.
I mean, I appreciate where you're coming from, but I think that's probably more of a problem of a particularly peculiar viewing.
Oh, exactly. That's why I was saying
Whereas,
for me, this
Yeah.
isn't. I don't find this at all compelling.
Yeah.
Some people will, but I don't.
I mean, Netflix knows me really well. I open it up and like 50% of my shows are like regular action shows, and 50% of my recommendations are like supernatural, vampire, werewolf type things. Spot on. Like, okay. Then I open up my wife's profile and it's like 100% rom-coms, and I'm like, okay, yes, this is the crap that she likes to watch.
Yeah, the last time I opened up Netflix, half of the stuff that it was trying to make me watch is stuff that I would never watch. There was like 20 reality shows, and I was like, I've never once like even watched a reality show on Netflix. It's all stuff that they want me to watch, as opposed to stuff used to be. The recommendations were stuff that you would most likely want to watch, not what.
So Clyde, you mean if Netflix made a documentary on how they made the Greasy Strangler, you wouldn't be interested?
Oh, I probably would. It would. I'm just saying.
I probably would too.
Unless somebody told me it was there, I would have a very hard time finding out about it or discovering it, because they're no longer giving me stuff that's based on my interests. It's primarily stuff that's based on their interests.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. You're outside the algorithm, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I think they have definitely also made an effort to surface their content a lot more. The most popular on Netflix and the Netflix channels get their own rows, and even though 75-80% of that stuff is stuff that I wouldn't be at all interested in, it's still there too. So the on the rows of things that I am likely to like, it is correct, but they have surfaced a lot of their own content that they are just trying to promote to everybody, which is
and I don't mind having a row dedicated to that stuff, but to intentionally move my watch list randomly so that you have to scroll down through those things it's terrible. And
the watch list is it is hard to find because they move it around on the vertical where the bar is, where the row is. They move that up and down, but they also change, like it seems like every other week they change where in the menu it is too. If you directly want to go to your watch list, it's also kind of hard to find it.
And that is my big.
So I've ended up not using that hardly at all anymore because it is a nuisance to me at this point.
I mean, that's one of the reasons I don't even open Netflix anymore. I used to open Netflix just to let's see what there is. I don't even open Netflix anymore unless I know, there's a show that I specifically want to watch, and then I will go in and I will search for that show. I won't even browse around. I'll just search directly for that show, watch it, and then I'm done. And then I'm like, don't touch the Netflix app again for another 6 months to a year. Yeah. It's like, why am I paying for this? Okay.
Oh, that's all right. Sorry, I was distracted by something. I apologize. Hey, guess what? It's not the typical time where people release new televisions, but Toshiba has decided that now would be a perfect time to release new televisions. They've come out with a couple of lower end, very inexpensive options available for you, from 43 inches to 50 inches. These are available on Amazon and Best Buy. They start at 350 and 470 respectively. And these are 4K models that they're going to be coming out with larger ones soon, 55, 65, and 75 inch versions in the future. These are running the Amazon Fire TV. They are not yet running the newer version of it, but they will be getting that update later this summer of the Fire TV interface. So you'll be able to use it to do all your cool Fire TV things that you can do with other newer devices. It's good to see Toshiba is still a brand name that's making things. I'm curious, are they still a Japanese-owned company, or are they been moved over to the China side?
I don't. I know historically, I've really liked the Toshiba TVs.
Yeah, Toshiba's been good.
Before Hisense and TCL kind of took over the market, the Toshibas were the ones that I was installing a lot for like digital signage because they were affordable and they looked great. And I mean, I've continued to be tempted by Toshiba over the last few years with some of their options. But they have kind of always been priced above a TCL, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So something more affordable from them, I'd be interested in checking out. I was just looking through the specs.
From what I'm seeing here, it looks like that they sold 80% of their client solutions, including personal computers, over to Sharp, and so they are working with Sharp, which is another great brand. So I don't have a problem with that. So I imagine that they're good models, and the prices are fairly competitive with these ones. If you're looking for a new TV and looking for something inexpensive, these might be a good option for you. You should check it out. They've got some new technology in them too. They've apparently are using their 4K resolution upscaling. It's called the Regza engine. I don't know if it's any good. Their Dolby Vision support and HDR10. So these should be good models. Be able to do most of the things you want to do. So you haven't gone 4K.
TV?
Oh,
Sorry, what?
Built-in Fire TV?
Built-in Fire TV will be upgraded to the newer edition later this summer. And Clyde, you haven't gone 4K yet, have you?
no.
Okay.
I can't pull the trigger.
He's waiting for 8K, then he'll go 4K.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. My question on this is just, what kind of hardware do they have behind it? I mean, as Clyde has indicated, and is certainly true, is especially when you make it your smartphone, your smart device as well, the hardware that you have behind it makes a big difference. And having used a Fire TV and a Fire Cube and stuff for a very long time now, they can get hot, and they can get a little bit slow when they get heated up or when the memory starts to get full. So it is important that if that is the way they're going, if you are getting something like that for the Fire TV, you check the specs first, make sure it's got sufficient RAM comparable to what the Cube itself has. Otherwise, you will be hurting when it comes to actually utilizing the device.
It's interesting that you brought up RAM specifically because Toshiba does own the OCZ brand, which is a fairly well respected name in memory and solid state disks. So I would assume if you buy a Toshiba TV, it should have OCZ memory and storage.
You would hope that it would at least have some pretty decent memory and storage and stuff, but you never know. And I don't know if that was part of what they sold off to Sharp, but yeah.
Very cool. All right, we have here. Did I skip over a story? I think I did.
Yeah.
You did.
I do that. I'm sorry, guys. All right. If you are a UFC pay-per-view customer who wishes to have access to it through your streaming device, you have the option now to get it through ESPN Plus if you are paying for Hulu and that service. It's interesting. They have some limitations. If you're paying for it through Disney and getting the bundle that way, you have to go through the website to get it. Or if you are getting it through the Hulu way of getting ESPN Plus, you can pay for it directly within that system to get it paid for. But yes, you will now be able to access those very popular fights available on your ESPN Plus and directly on any device that is accessing it through your Hulu.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting to me. I really wanted to watch the last UFC fight. I wanted to see the Masvidal fight. It was okay because the guy I wanted to win, Masvidal, didn't win, so I guess it was good that I didn't have to watch it. But especially pay like $75. That was ultimately the thing, though. For like, to me, these are so expensive that it's only going to make sense to spend the money on it if you're going to have like a bunch of friends come over and you're going to make a party out of it. Like $75 just to watch the event. And I didn't have it wasn't available via ESPN Plus at the time on Hulu. You had to do something else, and the other solution was going to cost me like $60 too. So it would have been costing like $120 or something just to be able to watch it. But so this is cool. ESPN's not terribly expensive. You could sign up for a month for a few bucks and then do it as long as you are already a Hulu subscriber. So that's kind of cool. I do still feel like they're pretty darn expensive for what you get. $75 to watch a fight.
Yeah, well, last time I was at, when was in the night, and maybe in the 2000s, and I was like $90 to watch one of these shows, and and it wasn't me, it was somebody else. It was, oh, we're gonna go to watch the show tonight, and they called, and it was like I pay, and he was, his big deal was he actually had to call up the company and say, I paid my $90 and I'm still not able to see it. It's going to be live in 10 minutes. I want to watch my show. He was yelling at the guy over the phone. I was like, oh my goodness, you're really into this. I get it.
The only experience I have with a pay-per-view was back in the Tyson days.
Oh yeah.
People would get super angry because you spent all this money for pay-per-view and then like one punch in the first round and it's over. And it's just like,
paid $100 to watch
a
that 10-second match. Yeah. I mean, it is, I've only watched a couple of these, and every time it's been either a friend had it because he was getting it anyways, or a friend at work would say, hey, everybody chip in $5 and we'll watch the show. And, we get 20 of us there paying, $5. That covers the cost. And that also gives us some drinks and snacks and whatnot. So.
Or you could go down to your local bar, or nowadays just wait till the next day and you can watch it on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Of course, bars are, sports bar or whatever is a good place to go for these kinds of things.
Remind me at the end of the show.
The drinks you spend.
Remind me of the show to talk about something about Mike Tyson.
Aye.
Okay, fine. So here's what is an interesting story. Last week we reported on the fact that Roku had decided to make a big stink about YouTube TV on their devices, and they pulled that from the devices. Thanks for reminding me. I appreciate that. And they pulled YouTube TV, the app, from the Roku store, which meant that if you were a person who had already downloaded the app, you still could watch it. Works just fine. But if you had not, and you wanted to download it, you're kind of out of luck. The guys at YouTube TV said, "Yeah, we could. Let's work around this. Let's go ahead and set it up so that if you can use the YouTube app. There's a link on there. If you go into that app, that just takes you to the YouTube TV interface."
Yeah, which makes perfect sense because you can already do this through the YouTube page in your browser.
Yes,
so they just brought the same functionality from your PC to the Roku.
Yes, and but at the same time, this brings up the conundrum for Roku of, do they delete or remove access to the YouTube app, and what kind of hell hath they wrought if they do that?
Yeah, I don't think that's an issue, because Yeah, I don't know.
This is just an interesting move by the guys at YouTube TV, making sure that there's a way for everybody to get access to it in this time of struggle of getting to it before. I think it's a sly move. I think it's a brilliant business move. Let me put it that way. If you feel that maybe the YouTube and Google are too big, I can understand that this feels a little weird and weird like that. I don't feel that way. I think this is just those companies trying to figure it out in the only way they know how, which is to make people angry.
Yeah, I will say it's very obvious to anybody that uses YouTube TV on the Roku, because the first time you log or you open up YouTube TV after this whole kerfuffle, there was a big thing that popped up on the screen that said, hey, going forward, you can now access this through the YouTube app. I'm not particularly a fan of the YouTube app on the Roku, so I wouldn't want to do it that way, personally. But it's good to know that you can. And like I said, for a lot of people, they access their YouTube TV content through YouTube already, because that's the way it's set up in the browser. So for those people, this should just be second nature. And yeah, I think everybody should be happy.
Great. And also, I'd like to give you guys another option, just so you know. If you are a Roku user and you do want to use the YouTube TV app, but you don't want to have to use the YouTube app, an option available to you now is for you to use your PlayStation 5. You have one of those, don't you?
Oh,
that's right.
Everybody's got a PlayStation 5.
And they're not hard to find at all, and
Nope.
they're super cheap. Might as well pick one up so you can watch YouTube TV, now available on PlayStation 5.
Can I just, for those of you that have been trying to get a PlayStation 5, but you desperately want a PlayStation 5, let me just pour salt in your wounds and say, my buddy has a PlayStation 5 and he didn't actually even want one. Because they were doing those like basically deal roulette things on the website, and he was like, I kind of want one, but I don't think I want. And he was like, It was kind of like what you were doing with the graphics card, where when they would pop up, then random people that would get it,
Right.
and he's like, okay, and he pushed the button just in case. And then, like, right away, he had decided, I don't think I want to spend the money on it. And I think they heard him, because they're like, hey, you're the winner. And he got a PlayStation 5.
That's crazy. That's all right. I know. In this time where it's hard to get stuff, the people who are getting the things that they don't really want, and all the other people who really want them, that just makes me sad inside.
And can I just say that thing's even uglier in person? It's ginormous.
You don't like it, huh? Oh, it's big.
Well, it's big and it's just stupid looking.
Oh. You can get D-brand side panels, and it will change the look of it if you wish.
Make it into a PS2.
I think they decided to keep the shape, but the colors different.
No, it's the shape is the shape is the problem.
All right. Well, that's okay. Hey, all right. Google is working on a way for you to finally be able to play Stadia games on your TV using something other than the Stadia remote controller. If you use the Stadia remote controller, it uses Wi-Fi to connect directly to the servers over the internet instead of connecting through an intermediate device.
And that was the only reason why it worked on the Chromecast dongle. Not the Chromecast with Google TV, but the actual
Still
Chromecast
doesn't work there.
like Ultra.
Right. So there has been so they've been wondering of how they're going to make this work with other devices, and it looks like what their plan is for you to launch an app on your phone, connect your Bluetooth device or USB-C device to that phone, and the phone sends the information up to the Google Cloud in order to get that same very low bandwidth, low latency connection up to the servers for you to play on those. This sounds kludgy. What's the word I'm looking for?
This is exactly the same reason I didn't want to use the Stadia controller for everything on my PC. Is because I don't want to be tethered. If they let you connect this controller to the app on your phone via Bluetooth,
They will.
that would be fine. But this requires USB-C right now.
No, it will let you use Bluetooth as well. That's the plan.
But it doesn't at the moment. That is what I'm saying.
Is that true? I thought it did, but that's okay.
I don't think it does. Because that's the whole reason. Like, you can't,
Nope, either Bluetooth or USB. Yeah. You can do both. Okay. You can do either. So the thing is, it does tie up your phone though, and does up its bandwidth.
And I don't like that either. But
if it actually solves the problem of the latency issue, which I don't, why can't it just connect to? I guess it does.
I will say, when I was playing Stadia on my computer using the Stadia controller, I didn't notice any latency at all.
It's that good.
Yeah. It's great.
So there is a problem they're trying to fix here, obviously. So I don't know. That negative latency that they talked about a long time ago, this must be part of it.
Yeah, it needs to be able to make the push the buttons before you do.
Right. That's right, because they anticipate. It's amazing. All right, and we have one last story for this week. Broadcasters are looking at Locast. Locast, of course, is that service that allows you to get your local channels in your area over the internet. What a concept! Be able to watching your shows over the internet, and be having to watch the ads, which is how those local channels make money, right? And also being able to have be able to do it on any device that's compatible with Locast. This sounds like something that would just make sense. Well, it doesn't make sense to broadcasters. Apparently, all the big four, ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC, have filed a letter in the U.S. Court of New York, and they're outlining their claims against Locast and asking them to reject Locast from being allowed to broadcast their signal over the internet. How did this get worded?
In what regard?
How did the ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC word this against Locast? They said that it was that it's that's right, that Locast is a freemium business model and not a not for profit model.
So there. This goes back to 2019. They immediately sued Locast when Locast launched, citing past filings and a win against Aereo.
That's right.
But the difference the difference was the fact that Aereo was a for-profit company, whereas Locast is a not-for-profit company. And again, we were discussing before, I can't remember the difference between non-profit and not-for-profit. I believe this is a not-for-profit, meaning they can invest the money that they make into the company and they can pay their employees, but they are not, they're not making money as the suit claims, because you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay anything to use the service. You can donate money to because running this service is expensive. So essentially, they may as well just start a Patreon, because that's essentially what any fees that people are paying to Locast. That's essentially what it is. It's we appreciate what you're doing and would like to support.
If what they're saying here is true, though, it's free, but you might as well spend half of your time just tearing off your toenails with pliers.
What?
It sounds like it would be just about that bad. According to this, Locast interrupts you every 15 minutes. that you're watching a channel, telling with an ad to subscribe or to pay them $5 to donate. And if you don't, it kicks you out of your show and sends you back to the menu, and you have to re-navigate back to your show and start back into it. I mean, that sounds like the evil of ads times 10.
But is
So-
that actually happening? That's an allegation. 'Cause
Yeah, I know. That's
I've
why I
never
said,
heard
if
that
this
from.
is true,
I've never
it's-
heard that from people that use Lowcast.
yeah, I am curious if that's true. That is what the lawsuit is alleging, though. Part of what they're alleging, which is why they're claiming that this isn't really a free model.
No, I mean, it doesn't. Even if you have to re-navigate, it's still free. It's not like it's you hit your time and you're done, and you can't go back to that thing that you were watching. But
Right. I mean, it is kind of as they're saying, it's a freemium model, right? Like it's free, but to get a decent quality experience, you're going to have to pay money for it. And so it is not necessarily free. That
but
the
it's
fact
still
that,
the $5
that giving
a
a
month.
donation changes your experience, it's not really so much of a donation as it is, again, all based on this allegation,
Yeah.
right? If what they're alleging is correct, what they're saying is you aren't getting it free. The donation totally changes your experience. So it's not really a donation, it's a subscription. And I think that might hold weight if this allegation is true that they're doing this.
Well, even if it is a, if it is a, let's say a pay service, the fact that they are a not-for-profit should make would be the distinction between them and previous attempts like Aereo.
I don't think so, because ultimately, whether or not you're a for-profit or a not-for-profit business doesn't impact your ability to forego copyright claims and laws. What they're saying before is that this is a broadcasted solution, and so I'm just providing these people the way to get to their channel.
Yeah.
And that is one argument that is fair until you start charging them to get to content that they can that would be broadcast. So then you're making profit off of this.
Most of the
And
people
again,
that are using this service are using it because they can't get it over the air. Like my neighbor, I directed him to Lowcast because he was complaining that the 2 channels that he wants to watch, we can't get over the air.
Right.
And he didn't want to pay $60 a month to YouTube TV just to watch NBC and another channel.
I get that. I'm just what I'm saying is, from a legal perspective, that claim of this is the way that they get this broadcast solution, that might be something you could reasonably argue in court.
Yeah.
The idea of I'm taking a solution that they could get broadcast over the air for free if they had an old TV or the right hardware, and making it available for them at a price. That's where there isn't a way to make this argument legal, right? So that's what Aero was doing. Aero was selling you the ability to rebroadcast this. That is a violation of broadcasting law. Doing it for free, you're basically a repeater at that point. And then that's not illegal, potentially. I mean, it seems that since Lowcast has been able to survive previous attempts to shut it down, it is probably legal. But if they're charging and if they're paying for the service, that would be illegal. That's what was the precedent that was set clearly by the Aero decision.
So down to the bottom of this, it does point out that that Lowcast is owned by Sports Fans Coalition of New York, which is a 501c3 charitable nonprofit organization. So they don't pay dividends, they don't distributions, they don't even take salaries. So any of that money, goes right back into the, which is the thing that's kept them. This is how they've been able to avoid getting shut down this whole time.
Right.
And
But again,
I know I'm not saying I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm
Is-
just saying that's the loophole that they have
Right.
been operating in. Hopefully they didn't do something that closes that loophole because,
right.
I mean, they came out and immediately were sued. They were sued immediately. I'm still amazed that it's been like 2-3 years and they're not bankrupt. But then again, they're a nonprofit. There's not really anything to get.
Yeah, it all comes down to if they're actually doing this, then the judge can make or jury really judge. Then the judge can make an assessment of whether or not that constitutes you charging for the service. And if it's charging, then they will not be allowed to continue. If it isn't charging, then I think we are clear that
I
they'll
think
be
all they
able
need to do is say, okay, sorry, we were a little heavy-handed and we won't do that anymore.
Right.
It would
we
make
fired that guy. That was a really bad decision for him.
it would make much more sense if there was a judgment that said you're doing it in a legal way. Here's a fine, and here's what you have to do from this point forward, and they comply with that. I'm fine with that if that's the case. But that's not what the big networks want. They want them to disappear from the face of the earth.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. I don't know where this is being tried and what that judge is.
It's New York, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to be a particularly consumer-friendly place usually because of the influence and power that the media places have. But you never know. The judge could come back with what you're saying, Matt, and I think that would be totally reasonable. Of this action is wrong. You can't do this. Here's the fine. Don't do it again, and then they'd be allowed to continue.
Right. Also, what was I about to say? I lost it. Darn it. If they as I was trying to say, darn it, I hate it when I lose it. I apologize.
Sorry, I talked too much.
It's gone.
Yeah. All right.
I knew if I just kept talking, you would forget what you were going to say.
Well, you know what's not gone?
My brain?
No, we've already established that's gone.
Oh.
No, I'm talking about those people that support us every month via patreon.com. They're still around, and by golly, are we glad that they are.
Yes, we are.
Absolutely. So, to each and every one of you that support us every month, thank you. You are awesome. You are our favorite people. If you are not supporting us and you think you might want to, it's very simple. You just head on over to patreon.com/TheVod Squad and choose how much you want to give. You can give as little as $1 a month one time. We literally have somebody that's on that tier, and that's perfectly fine. They're still one of our favorite people. It makes no difference. We are grateful either way. So patreon.com/TheVod Squad. All right, let's get on over to some rants and some raves. Rants, raves, what do we got?
I got a thing for you guys. So this is a Curio tablet.
It's a really big phone.
It's the Curio Extreme 2 from Curio, the company that makes tablets for kids. And I can't remember when we got this. It was, in a couple years ago. And it is so not supported by
Anything?
By anybody anymore. Because you know what? It's how do I put it this nicely? It's slow. I mean, the phrase slow as molasses in January is supposed to mean it's slow. but actually it means it's slower than you think it is, but it's actually fast. We'll learn about
Mhm.
that later if you wish to learn more. It's a horrible tablet. It took forever for us just to bring up menus. This thing is just absolutely a dog. And the screen's not so good. It's okay, but if you turn it sideways, I don't know, but this panel just does not look good sideways, but it looks good
But
this
when
way.
you got it, it was good enough for the kid that was using it, right?
Well, it was a gift, and I immediately said thank you very much. And after playing with
Oh.
it for a little bit, put it on the shelf because I let my son play with it for a little while. He did not play with it much
No.
because it's just it's not a very good tablet, quite frankly,
Gotcha.
at all. But I was, when I got home from work, I had to pull it out only because I knew where it was. I would have pulled out my Nexus 7 tablet instead, because that would have been my preferred device. The screen on that is a lot better, but this is a decent device for that. The reason why I got it though is because I listen to podcasts all the time, and on my way home from work today, I was listening to Security Now, and Security Now is a good, it's a good podcast. It's all, it's they talk about security and for things that are happening in the industry and things like that. But one of the things that the guys at Security, that Steve Gibson at Security Now does, is he loves to every once in a while come out and say, "Oh, a good book has come out," and he happens to like certain kind of sci-fi, and I also kind of like, and it's still taking forever to load this page. Let me see if there it goes. But yes, it is called Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I downloaded it because I'm going to be reading it tonight, because his previous books, The Martian and what was the one on the moon? I forget the name of it. Both of those books were excellent. The Martian was better, and everybody is saying that this one is even better still. I am excited to read this tonight. And usually, to me, to be excited about a book is pretty rare, so I felt like I just needed to share. I'm going to be reading it on this crappy tablet, but that's okay.
Oh, I guess there's a movie coming, Project Hail Mary.
Oh, they're going to make a movie of it? Of course they are. That sounds good.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Who's next?
I'll go next.
All right.
All right. So I've been watching this docu-series on HBO Max. It's called Generation Hustle. Right. My wife and I, we are kind of intrigued with these, crime docu-series and all. We like watching those, and that's what this one is too, right? But the thing that's different about this, each episode is, about somebody who was a criminal. Sometimes but they're like younger folks. It's like, the millennial type, or the millennial generation is what they're talking about for all the episodes that are in this, right? And really interesting, right? It's really interesting to see how, it's the millennial take on how you scam people, and that kind of thing. So it's, you see a lot of stuff, with social media involved, and that sort of thing, right? So it's, if you like, those crime docuseries type shows, you'll probably like this one, and it's on HBO Max. It's pretty new. I don't think it's been out too long. I think there's about 10 episodes or so there. I think me and my wife have watched all of them now. But yeah, if you like that type of show, I'd say check it out. Worth watching.
All right. Rock on. Mike?
Well, as we've all kind of mentioned, this this is the May month. The May the 4th be with you and such. Disney released a new Star Wars show last week on May 4th. And then they also released started on the regular cadence of the show which is every Thursday. So I've seen the first 2 episodes of The Bad Batch, and I gotta say, honestly, I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Family gets together, we sit down and we watch it. So far it's been good. We've enjoyed the first 2 episodes. There's some interesting characters, and interested to see where it goes. It's without spoiling anything, this all goes down right after Order 66. So it's a time of change and flux in the Star Wars universe, and a group of misfit clone troopers are dealing with things as they change. So it's been good so far. I've enjoyed it. Have you seen it yet, Matt?
I have not, and I understand it's like continuing seasons of the Clone Wars. Just since the Clone Wars are officially over, it's and this is of course the Bad Batch, this group of clone soldiers. I understand that they're basically like, if you really want to get into it, you should probably watch all of Clone Wars first in order to get it. Although I'm certain you probably don't have to.
So is this the Star Wars Dirty Dozen?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little. Okay. Yeah, I think
only there's like 4 of them, right?
Yeah,
that's why they're not a dozen.
If you were gonna watch this, I would definitely watch like the 2 episodes that they're in Clone Wars.
Okay.
Because I think it's 2 episodes. That's the first introduction to them. So you definitely watch those. But it certainly is nice to know everything that's going on, the different characters. They talk about different characters that are in the Clone Wars series, and you see a little bit of that world and characters that come from that series. So it definitely is worth watching Clone Wars. I mean, Clone Wars is a great series in and of itself, especially the last couple of seasons. Season 7 is one of the best things made in the Star Wars universe. It is right up there with the movies as far as how awesome it is. I would definitely watch the Clone Wars before I watched this, but you don't have to. Those 2 episodes would be worth it, though. They're a part of season 7.
Okay. I'm not so. Since I watched the first episode of Clone Wars, and it is so not what it feels like for the rest of what it turns into. I know, and it's much more serious, much more. But that first episode, it feels super silly. It feels kidsy, and I know that turns into something much more kind of thing. So
I'd say most of the first season kind of continues that trend, but the longer you go, the more mature and developed it gets.
So I imagine
phenomenal.
I imagine if I were to probably decide to step into it, if I were to try to do that, I think I would want to step in maybe with season 7, since I have heard it is, and also it's its own season. It kind of is its own thing, and it's right up with what's happening in the movies, apparently, like parallel to them.
It would be. I would say it would be best to start at season 6. Season 6 is very good, and it provides the background to understand the context of season 7.
Okay.
So season 6 would be best. But it is I would say from season 4 on is absolutely excellent. Seasons 2 and 3 are good, and season 1's just okay.
So basically, you don't need to worry about watching this new show for a few years until you get caught up with those 2 seasons.
Right. One of those shows that could just be on constantly in the background. But I can't watch shows like that. So
I assume this is animated like the others. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
It's good.
Well, rock on. I honestly, I don't really have anything to rant or to rave about this week again. 2 weeks in a row.
That's saying if Clyde doesn't have something to rant about, the world.
I know, right?
Clyde, tell me about your new phone.
Oh, I don't know yet. I haven't. That's why I said I had to get I'm tired of fighting with AT&T over my wing that died a couple weeks ago. I've been back on my old LG. That the power button doesn't work. Which
How do you turn it on?
It's just on.
Okay. Just don't
You
ever
can't-
turn it
you
off.
can't reboot it. That's the problem.
You have to let the battery die to reboot.
Exactly.
Right?
That's why I stopped using it and I got the wing, was because I was tired of because I broke, and wasn't the phone, it's I broke the power button when I replaced the back, because the USB port was worn out and the back was cracked, so I replaced the back and the USB port, and in the process I broke the power button, which is
Good job, man.
on the back
cover.
cover.
That's one of those.
And it has to be lined up just perfect, and I could never get it lined up just perfect, and I said, screw it, I don't need it. Yeah, so I finally, work's been telling me, you need to get a cell phone. You need to get a work provided cell phone. And finally I was like, after I've been fighting with AT&T about my wing, if this were a car, I would have driven it back to the showroom and left it. So I guess I do have something to rant about. AT&T.
Yeah.
I've been trying to leave for a long time, and this phone is having issues with the main screen, which all of them are, which I'm pretty sure was the main nail in the coffin and reason for LG's recent decision to, we're getting out of the mobile phone business. I think this was the final straw. This phone is not, even though it's got a warranty, but it doesn't appear on the mobile warranty portal.
That sucks.
I talked to AT&T. They were like, oh, you have two options. You can pay it off and upgrade it, or you can use the insurance and pay a deductible. It's like, screw that. Number one, I'm not paying a deductible on a phone that's under warranty, under a 2-year warranty. Number two, I'm not going weeks without a phone, because it was working. It was working every once in a while. It would start working. I was working with the LG people, and they were like, oh yeah, this is a known issue. Just do a factory reset. And I was able to figure it out. But the problem is now the phone's completely useless, because the second screen doesn't work when you first boot into the Android setup. And the main screen doesn't work at the moment. So it's done a factory reset. I can't even go through to set it back up. So now that's why I'm like,
You've bricked it.
well, essentially, I mean, it's there. I can hear it trying to do stuff. Because up until that point, since it had the dual screen, it was a savior, because I could still use this screen. I just flipped the phone up like that, and this became the top, and I could pull down and get the settings and stuff. I just had to be in here. But nope, now it's I can hear it clicking. It's open, it's trying to work, but it's in the setup menu at the moment. And so I finally said, okay, work, give me a phone. And
they're giving you a
Samsung S20 FE. It was either that or an iPhone 12 or that weird, what was that one that I...
Carosia Mita.
Kia Sera. It was a Kia Sera, one of those off-road all-terrain phones.
Yeah, that they're not that good.
No, and it's also from 2018.
Yeah, it's not.
I was just surprised the Kia Sera is still around.
Yeah.
And
welcome to the Samsung army, Clyde.
And guess what? To add insult to injury, it's on AT&T.
No.
And it's going to be locked down, but
Oh,
No.
come on! You have to talk to your guy and let him let you install a different launcher, and that'll make the skin. You can change the skin.
Well, it's like I said, that's not the issue.
Okay.
I was just saying I don't know what that app is, but I'm AT&T. As I told your representative, you guys don't want to help me. You don't want to work with me. I guess you don't want my money. He said, well, you have to pay it. I said, no, I don't. So you can give me another phone, or I walk out of here. I'm changing the card on my account, and you guys will never get another dime from me, which is what I did.
Good for you, man, sir.
Luckily, my bill isn't due for a few days, so the work phone should be here before AT&T threatens to turn off my...
If you find yourself in a situation where you don't have you need access to a phone or something like that, I will mail you an old phone.
Oh no, I mean, I've got phones. I've got piles of phones.
All right.
The problem is they're not, like, I'm trying to drive around with this thing, even though I broke this phone to put it in a USB port. That new USB port lasted me a total of a month before it started, because it was some cheap Chinese. I got it through the proper channels, but it wasn't, through iFixit.
Why don't you buy a Pixel phone? You don't like this?
Well, number one, the one they had when I got this one, I didn't like it as much. I mean, I really liked this phone. This phone was great. Mm-hmm. I wasn't expecting it to the screen to have issues.
I remember when you got the previous LG, you liked that one really well. I'm surprised this one didn't do so well.
This phone I've had for like 3, almost 4 years. It's still great.
You got that one brand new, not long after we started the podcast,
and it's still awesome. The only reason I updated was because, like I said, it got to the point where I replaced that USB port, and then it had already failed again, because it clearly not great parts from iFixit.
Oh man,
I know, right?
You'd think they'd have good parts.
That was the whole reason I went through them. And then so I broke this phone in the process of trying to fix this other part that also went, because I can't use this. If I can't use the USB port, it is completely useless to me when I'm driving, because I rely on the map, and I rely on the apps and stuff that, yes, I can connect to my phone with Bluetooth, but I can't interact with my phone while I'm driving. This little tiny screen going, right, at arm's length. So
I gave up on AT&T years ago. I mean, I
wanted to leave, and we've talked about this for like 3 years. I've wanted to leave for a long time. But at least they won't be getting money from me.
T-Mobile, I think, is great. I think you get just as good a service and a little better price as well.
I just figure I'll let work pay for my phone, and then I'm done there, then I can go to whoever I feel like going to.
Check out all your options at that point. You'll be good.
Yeah. So, all right. On that note, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We will be back again next Wednesday, normal time, 9 p.m. Central, here on Twitch. In the meantime, if you would like to check out some past episodes, or maybe you got here late and you wanted to see what happened earlier, the show is available on YouTube. It's also available in audio form, which I can't really listen to in my car at the moment. But you can if you go to anywhere that podcasts are available. Look for the VOD Squad. Also, for these of you that are here, stick around for the post show. We will be selecting a title tvs.showbot.tv is where you should be if you want to vote. But I don't think I need anything else, right?
I think you're good.
We're good. We don't need to beg them for anything. There's no
We could,
support.
it's up to you. If you want to, you're allowed to. We're not stopping you.
No, I don't want to. What I want to do is say goodbye. So we'll see you next week.
Bye.
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 Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.